What's up, guys? So I just wanted to show you guys my little corner of peace, since I was going to talk to you about alchemy and finding the right frequency of the universe for peace of mind and manifesting a better lifestyle for yourself. So clearly got a little bit of some smooth jazz going on, some nice vibes, talking about frequencies. That's like your main frequency right here is what you tune into as far as sound, sonic waves, bro. This shit's real. Make sure you check what you're putting in your brain as far as like music frequencies and shit. And then over here, I got my little... It's clearly messy, and that's the entire point, since it's clearly a spot for art magic. So we're talking about spiritual stuff. This right here is about as spiritual as it gets, yo. Art. Whether that be through music, frequencies, or tuning into the universe's frequencies for creativity so you can express creativity. So it's what you put in as far as frequencies, what you intake, and what you outtake into the universe. So your positive pulling frequency and your negative frequency, which isn't necessarily, negative frequencies aren't necessarily bad, of course. It's just, you know, where frequencies go. Positive attracts, and negative puts frequencies out into the universe. The law of attraction. So I have talked about this before, as far as like the 7 Hermetic principles and where they go into as far as your chakra system, because I think I have mentioned that how they correlate. So I'll kind of briefly go over the chakras, which is your main ones, your crown chakra, because there's 114. But you have your crown chakra, your third eye chakra, your throat chakra, your heart chakra, your solar plexus, your sacral chakra, and then your root chakra. These are the main ones, of course. Now, going back to, if I can find the correct page. Okay. The 7 Hermetic principles are as follows. The principle of mentalism. The all is mind. The universe is mental. Of course, you can't read that because my handwriting sucks. But... so everything in the universe, essentially what this means is the universe is mental. So everything that you see in the universe, everything you experience in the universe is of your own mind. It's your own imagination. It's your own manifestations. We are constantly manifesting our own life. That's just how the world works. You don't realize it because you're just doing it. It's just something we naturally do as far as frequencies, because again, like I mentioned in other videos, we're energy. We're an energy frequency. So the things we experience are always reflections of who we are on the inside. Now, going to the next one, like I said again, the principle of vibration, this goes into frequencies as well. Nothing rests, everything moves, everything vibrates. Essentially almost like the butterfly effect. Everything has its, well, maybe not the butterfly effect, but everything has its own frequency, vibration. And so everything is constantly putting out a frequency. So like again, what I said, like as far as like, you know, what you're putting in as far as the frequency, whether that be like music, whether it be positive music or negative music, And that goes as far as like the sound itself, the frequency of the music, and then also the lyrics too, because again, words are magic. What you say is what you affirm into the universe. So you keep talking shit and you keep putting shit into your brain, you're just gonna get shit back. That's how it works. So moving on. The principle of correspondence, as above, so below, as within, so without. Going right back into, you know, the rest of this, correspondence. So everything happens for a reason, right? The principle of correspondence. So nothing in this reality is just a coincidence. Everything happens for a reason. Everything happens to teach you a lesson. It, however, as within, so without, it is up to you to learn that lesson. So you're gonna have these situations in your life all the time that are there to teach you something, and this goes into the third eye as well. So you can't see that these situations are here to teach you a lesson. This is where it gets complicated, guys. Is when you're using your third eye to decipher a situation and figure out what it means, you're also fucking with the flow of karma and trying to decipher a lot of stuff. So this is where it can kind of get a little bit mixy. But the world will teach you a lesson. Maybe the lesson's complicated. Maybe you don't understand the lesson, but you can sit there and you can meditate on it, right? Because we talk about this is, you know, you want to meditate and clear out your chakra system, right? So you can meditate and ask the universe for some clear guidance on what it means. And then I promise you, because I've experienced this multiple times, they will teach you the lesson over and over again until it fucking clicks, bro. And it will click. I promise you. It will click. Now, going on to the principle of polarity. So this goes back into what I was talking about, like with positive and negative frequencies. Everything is duality. Positive and negative frequency, right? Everything is dual and has poles or opposites. These opposites are identical in nature. So they're the same thing. They're essentially the same, like cold and hot. It's like they're the same thing, but they're different in degrees. So it's not necessarily one's good, one's evil, one's bad, one's good, or whatever. But they're different. They have differences. That's all that really. And duality also necessitates balance, especially since we're dealing with our heart chakra. You have to create balance with these. This is extremely important. This can go into relationships, this can go into your mental headspace in general, and there's clearly a fly bugging the shit out of me all day. Wow, go away. And talking about duality. See, this motherfucker's trying to fuck up our duality. I lost my train of thought. You see how that works? So everything is dual and everything has its opposites. So it's not necessarily that one's right and one's wrong. It just means they're different. You can figure out what these differences are to balance stuff out. That's my recommendation. And now going on to the principle of rhythm, everything flows. Like I said, everything flows. The flow of the karmic rhythm. Everything flows. Everything has tides. There are ups and there are downs in life. No matter who you are in this world, you're gonna experience it, because that's just how collective consciousness works. It is the flow of life. Everything's like a river. It has waves that are gonna be tragic as fuck, and then it's gonna have some rises, some good shit in your life, some really good shit. And when we experience all the bad shit, That's life telling you you're gonna experience some really good shit in your future because we set you up, we prepared you, you're mentally prepared, you know what the fuck you're doing. Now it's your turn to balance that shit out in your own mind and have a great fucking life and manifest a good life. Now, going on to, the principle of cause and effect. Like I said, so kind of, this one's more like the butterfly effect. So every cause has an effect. Everything happens according to law. So these, along with these are the principles of life. There's a few others, I believe. I'll have to do another video on it. But these are the main principles of life. These are the main laws of life. So these are just the basic fundamentals. There's clearly a lot of other things going on in the world, but this is the basic understanding. If you understand these 7 principles, you can master alchemy. Now, the cause and effect thing, so like the butterfly effect, I don't know if you ever seen that movie or just know what that concept is. Everything you touch, everything has like a ripple effect through time. So everything you say and do will have a powerful impact on destiny, the future, and how other things are affected, because we're like a network, we're like a mushroom. I don't know if you've ever seen like a mushroom, but it's like a web, it's like a network. Like the internet is a network, like a spider web is a network. The mushrooms work off a network, our brain functions like a network. Everything ripples out into space and has some effect on somebody else. And you'll see this sometimes. You'll see this in relationships or just talking and meeting random people that have similar experiences to you and have something to kind of guide and teach you. And maybe you don't realize that they're teaching you something that, correlates with your life, but that is important to recognize and have gratitude for. Now going to the 7th principle, which is gender. Gender is in everything. Everything has masculine and feminine principles. So no matter if you were a boy, a man, a woman, female, whatever, or just gender neutral, whatever, you have both of these principles, whether you want to admit it or not. We have both feminine and masculine principles, qualities within ourselves. So I won't get into details about, because you can really get into some deep details about some of this stuff, but these are the basic principles, the understanding of life. If you can master this, you can master alchemy. Now, moving on to alchemy. Basically, alchemy is like the ability to take a shitty situation and turn it into a good situation. And now, being able to take everything as an experience and be the observer, not the absorber, right? Then we can reflect on a situation when it happens, while it's happening, before we react. So we don't necessarily, the ego has us thinking that we have to react to situations and we have to be caught up in the moment. We do this, and you don't beat yourself up if you do get caught up in the moment, because again, we're also humans, and even a great alchemist knows that we as humans have human feelings and emotions. None of us are perfect. We're imperfectly we're perfectly imperfect. There you go. That's a better way to say it. So as this fly continues to bug me, everything is a karmic situation. Everything in life that happens and has some type of tragedy that co-alongs with it, or has some type of, feeling or emotion, strong emotion that it gives you, just take a deep breath, clear your headspace. And this is a lot easier said than done, dude. I am not gonna sit here and sugarcoat it, okay? alchemy can be a struggle. It's an everyday struggle, and that's what life is. Life is an everyday karmic flow of struggles that are going to teach you when you need to get your shit back together. You don't always have, not every day is going to be a karmic learning struggle. That's not what I'm saying either. But the universe is going to tell you when you need to get your shit back together. I promise. It's done that to me all of my life. Anyway, so going on to alchemy, it's not necessarily, when we think of alchemy, we think of, like, you know, Full Metal Alchemist. It's got its principles that are pretty on point, but alchemy really, it's more of a mental process. It's a mental thing. Like, a lot of other things can coincide as far as, like, symbolism and symbols and I have a different, and like spells and crafting of magic and stuff like that. There's that goes in alchemy as well. However, really the understanding of it is it's more so a placebo effect for your intentions and setting your intentions in the correct place. I'm sure people will argue other things about that and how magic really works. Now, I'm not an expert. I'm not going to claim to be an expert. I'm always learning this stuff, even though I might remember some things about my past life stuff. We sit here and reincarnate and we relearn all of these elements for a reason. Now, oh yes, let's just show you some of the basic alchemy steps, because there's 7 steps of the alchemical transformation, the process of ascension. So alchemy, it goes into your mental process, and it's also a process of ascending to an ascension master. Now, what is an ascension master? We'll talk about that later. So, like I said before, 7 steps of alchemical transformation. First one, like I said, the trials and tribulations of your life. So, the trials and tribulations in life that inspire transformation and destroy ego's attachment to material things. So, this also, again, it corresponds right back into the 7 Hermetic principles, right? The all is mind, the all is mind, the universe is mental. So, everything is a reflection of our innards. So everything we experience on the outside world is a reflection of our insides and what we're fearful of, more so than anything, because fear is the ultimate illusion, right? So that's your first crown chakra, right? Is to see past the illusion and realize that everything is an experience. Nothing in life that happens to us is real. It's just an experience to teach us the fundamentals of life. Teach us how to be a better person. Now, 2 corresponds with vibration. Disillusion. Let go of controlling everything. So don't try to control everything. You go with the flow of life. The principle of vibration. So everything vibrates. You read into these vibrations. You have a Kundalini experience, which is the death of the ego. It could also be other things. There's other types. I believe there's other types of wow, I can't say that right now. Kundalini experiences. Now, this also goes along with having crazy lucid dreams, visions. Wow, what did I write there? Voices, hearing voices. Crap, I can't read that. So this is like where you're the disillusion. This is when you start letting go of the illusion. You start dissolving from the illusion, the matrix, and you start realizing that you're a spiritual creature. You're a soul having a human experience. This is when you start realizing the disillusion of yeah, you get what I mean. Anyway, so moving on to the separation the third solar plexus chakra. So discard unworthy attitudes and beliefs. Now this, oh god, I struggle with this. I tell you what, 3 is what I struggle on. I need to work on my solar plexus and going with the flow. I think this really comes, I'm gonna say this because I'm apparently a Leo now. I was a Virgo. I don't know if y'all know anything about Virgos, but we are controlling creatures, right? There's an ego mind right there at the very fucking top. So we're controlling types of creatures. So what we're supposed to do though is discard that type of attitude towards life. Discard shitty old doctrines and shitty old beliefs that don't really matter, don't really exist, and don't really serve us any better belief on ourselves, or not belief, better purpose. We're purging out the shit that doesn't serve us anymore, and that's what the separation is. Now we can fall in and out of this. I think this is where things can kind of get a little difficult sometimes, but you can control this and you can always jump back from it, don't worry. But conscious, you have to be it allows you to be more conscious of the energy flow. So when you start separating yourself from shitty attitudes and shitty negative beliefs, and you start affirming better things, like I said, like in your brain, you want to start affirming better things. You start saying these things over and over again in your brain, and then you start separating yourself from your old. So I kind of lost my train of thought because my memory got full, but I was talking about the flow of conscious energy. So again, we're aware of the illusion. We've separated ourselves from unworthy attitudes and beliefs. And this is where we start to align with our soul purpose in life, which is finding the meaning of life. I'm not going to tell you what the meaning of life is. That's for y'all to find out. Now, going to the next one, though, conjunction. So this is your 4th chakra, your heart chakra. This is performing marriage of the 2 sides of conscious within, solar and lunar, male and female, living from the heart. This is conjunction of divine feminine with divine masculine energy. So that's we're not necessarily like 3D marriage is what we think, where we're just talking about like a document and a ring, bro. We're talking about divine feminine and divine masculine, true positive and true negative energies. Not again, so it's not necessarily good and negative, or good and bad on energy coming together. It's the conjunction of divine feminine and divine masculine wisdom. So 2 people that have experienced some real shit in life on their own, and learned some identical or even some experiences that kind of coincide with each other, and maybe the 2 can learn from each other. That's essentially what we're doing. The conjunction of harmony, of, you know, realizing the similarities and the differences, and bringing those together for a better understanding. Now, the fermentation process. This is your throat chakra. This represents new life that is born from the purification of another living organism. So, the conjunction happened, and now new life is beginning. Now this is putrefaction? I don't know if I was trying to say putrefaction or purification. I think I was trying to say putrefaction. Now I have to look that word up, because now I don't remember what that means, or if I just spelled that wrong. Anyway, so the understanding of this new life begins when the conjunction happens of the true divine feminine and true divine masculine. Now then, distillation. boiled to purity, our psyche is agitated and challenged to ensure lower thought forms, habits, and contents of ego mind are completely separated. Introspection and reflection. So this is after the fermentation process. So new life is beginning. However, we gotta make sure that this shit's pure, right? We gotta make sure that you yourself are ready for new life, right? You gotta be ready for new life if it's gonna begin. You gotta make sure you got rid of everything. You got rid of your old habits, your shitty beliefs, your old doctrines, things that were controlled by your ego, that don't serve you. All those things that we were trying to get rid of and separate ourselves from, we gotta make sure we actually did that shit, right? So let's moving on to 6, distillation. We make sure that that shit's gone. That's what we're doing. Fuck you, old feelings. Right, okay. Now then, coagulation, your 7th crown chakra. Coagulation, greater or philosopher's stone, gives birth to permanent body or light of light. Permanent body of light is birthed from all of this shit that you went through. You went through all this shit, and now you're gonna be a better person. You're gonna return to the Garden of Eden. Oh, I don't think I mentioned that. I was gonna mention that at the beginning of the video. So, hell? I don't know if y'all know this. Y'all gonna realize this, because this is in the Bible. This also in the Tablets of Thought. This is everywhere. You just gotta decipher this shit better, right? So, the Garden of Eden, guys, it's in your mind. That Garden of Eden that's your mind, bro. That's what that is. So, heaven and hell, those two don't really exist, but they do. However, we don't necessarily die, we reincarnate, right? However, heaven and hell are of the mind, right? Because the universe is mental, the all is mind. Heaven and hell are a place of the mind. So you can be in heaven or you can be in hell. You can be in a state of pure love, light, and satisfaction, or you can be in the dark and you can pull yourself down into the dark and keep yourself there. But that's about you. Now, when we return to the Garden of Eden, though, this is solid unification with divine mind. Releases the astral body of light. This is where we want to be, right? Because once we get here, we ain't ever gonna have to worry about all this other shit. I mean, obviously life is always gonna be an uphill battle. We're always gonna want to learn from our experiences, because we can fall right off of our pedestal if we let ourselves. But this coagulation, though, that's your crown chakra. This is the philosopher's stone. This is where we are purified and we return to the Garden of Eden. We're solid, we're unified, we're back with unification, with collective consciousness, we're unified, and we begin purifying ourselves to pure light essence. This basically the fundamentals of alchemy. I mean, you can keep going with this stuff for sure. Like, alchemy is always going to be a learning process. But this is like where your spiritual awakening goes. Now, I've talked about like shadow work and you know, the dark elements of spiritual awakening, because we all go through them at different time periods, right? So, in order to become a master manifester, we have to set our intentions, and in order to set our intentions, we have to get rid of the ego mind and get rid of the ego mind's bad intentions or ill intent or just not fucking giving a shit what's really good for us. We have to get rid of that. That can be hard, knowing the difference between your ego and your mind, but really just reflection and meditation is the best way to get through it and figure it out. Because 9 out of 10 times what we want isn't what we need. And that's your ego telling you shit, right? So that's where things again get complicated. Because like I said, you know, you want to be a master alchemist, you want to be a master manifester. It's not necessarily just, you know, I'm not good with phrases, but it's not all fucking glitz and glamour. There we go, I guess, whatever. But there's dark sides to it. There's a lot of really dark sides to it. I've had some dark experiences that I won't talk about too much. But, you know, it's all a learning process. It's all about life. It's all about learning, you know, that true evil and true good don't necessarily exist. There's a yin and a yang. There's a karmic struggle between all of us and within ourselves more than anything. Within ourselves, that internal struggle is where the external struggle comes from. So just think of it as a mirror. Your internal is a reflection of your external is a reflection of your internal. Positive and negative frequencies. That's basically it for alchemy and the 7 Hermetic principles. Obviously, we can keep going on. I've made this a little bit of a longer video than usual, so I'll probably just end it here. If you guys want me to go into some more detail on how these kind of correspond with your chakras or something, I could definitely do that for the next video. Or just leave, you know, your comments, questions right there in the comments section. And don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, and we'll talk about some other stuff next time. Oh, by the way, like I showed you guys my art stuff earlier, right? I'm gonna do an art stream on Twitch. I'll leave the link down there in the description too, so if you want to catch me on Twitch, I'll be on probably half an hour after this video is uploaded. So just click that link down below for Twitch, Spirit Chill with an underscore. The link's gonna be right there. Peace.